How do we compare different regime types? We tend to compare between democratic and authoritarian regimes based on how power is divided between the people and their government. To determine how democratic or authoritarian a regime is, we compare the degree of rule of law to rule by law. In other words, are the people given a lot of rights to determine laws, or are laws determined by the leaders without much input from the people? In a system with democratic rule of law, there is equality under the law, as opposed to authoritarian rule by law, where leaders may arbitrarily discriminate when determining who is guilty of a crime. In democratic rule of law, we have free media, whereas an authoritarian regime controls the media. Democratic regimes allow for competitive elections where different parties can compete freely and fairly for votes. Electoral rules in authoritarian systems will serve the interests of their leaders, making it harder for the opposition to gain power. In a system of rule of law, we have a transparent democracy where it is easy for citizens to see what is going on, as opposed to decision-making by the law, by the rulers behind closed doors in authoritarian systems where people are not privy to the political process. Finally, rule of law guarantees equal freedoms to all citizens to participate, including rights to express themselves and influence the political process, not limited to election time. These types of rights are not extended to people in authoritarian regimes, who are simply subjected to the decisions made by the authoritarian leaders in the rule by law systems. Democracies are much more likely to divide power among different branches, but it's good to keep in mind that different democracies divide and balance power in different ways. Just as there are different flavors of democracy, we have different types of authoritarian regimes. The 5 main types are illiberal or hybrid regimes, meaning it might look like a democracy, but it actually has more authoritarian characteristics. One-party state that just has one political party, theocratic regimes ruled by religion, totalitarian regimes characterized by violent dictatorship, and military regimes where the armed forces are in charge of the government, often the result of a military coup. So when comparing regime types, it's important to analyze the power of the people versus the power of the government to determine how democratic or authoritarian a system is.
Like this video. Subscribe for more lessons by Miss Mar.
Created using Powtoon.